Revenant. It's Spotlight the movie and Spotlight the actual team that I'm here to talk about. And briefly enough, I hope that you get to have your say too. On this matter, I obviously have some detailed first-hand knowledge. I led the team that broke the code. It took an 18-month chunk out of my life. I remember what we did. I know how and why the film was made. I know the actors quite well. Michael Keaton is among my BFFs. So the director of this film, Tom McCarthy, took that first 5 months of our work and he distilled it into 2 hours and 8 minutes. In doing so, he managed, probably by design, to make our work seem exciting. Spotlight as an edge-of-your-seat thriller. Now, real investigative reporting is almost never exciting. If you saw the real reporting up close, you wouldn't be on the edge of your seat, you'd be sound asleep in your seat. Yes, good investigative stories are riveting to read, but the reporting that goes into them is often boring, monotonous, tedious, stupefying, mind-numbing, sleep-inducing, even constipating. One reason journalists like the film is because it feels authentic to them. Clueless reporters stumbling around in the dark, trying to figure out whether there is a story, then trying to determine its dimensions, then being dumbstruck to learn the story is much different and much bigger than they could have imagined. If that has a ring of familiarity, it is because that happens pretty much all the time in every newsroom. So that's the film. What about the real journalism? And the question that comes up, and it's worth a long discussion, if we can stay here till 10:30, is it possible nowadays to do this kind of investigation? And my answer to that is yes, of course it is. In fact, many investigations nowadays can be done faster. Reporting that once took months to do can now sometimes be done in days or a week or two. And beyond what we reported, did we learn anything about reporting about ourselves? Some lessons to us obvious. The Catholic Church, which is secretive and does not have to file anything, is as tough a nut to crack as exists. Yet we managed to do it. And we did it because many people with small pieces of a very large puzzle were willing to help, though most often not initially. And we were able to persuade them to help because we met with them face to face. If we had adopted accepted 21st century communications techniques, email, text, tweets, maybe something really personal like a phone call, we might still be waiting for people to cooperate. The best stories do not come to you. You have to go to them. Like other investigative teams, we typically focused our firepower on government wrongdoing and official corruption. We'd not paid heed to the less obvious, victimized populations, people with whom journalists have little in common who get run over by society, those who have no voice but for the one we can provide. And we don't have to wait for a whistleblower to alert us to those stories. All we need do is look around us. The distance between the newsroom and the classroom was 4 miles. The real difference was much greater. At the Globe, the mood was and remains glum, and the future is seen only as bleak. At the university, students were and remain excited about the possibilities of a world that is being remade, one that they, including students here, will help remold. They needed little motivating. Like many of the students here, they loved a good story. They were dogged. They learned where to go to get information. They learned, sometimes with great difficulty, how to persuade people to talk. And most of all, they came to understand that good reporting can right many wrongs. that good reporting is often the only light that illuminates life's darkest corners. Doing good journalism is a life worth living. It is, I believe, infinitely more fulfilling than making it into the top 1%. Given what's happened to myself and my colleagues recently, I would now add this. If you do reporting that makes a difference in people's lives, someone might come along and make a film that immortalizes your work. And believe me, if lightning like that can strike myself and my colleagues, it can strike any journalism student anywhere. Thank you very much.